Ciao tutti. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Across the Board on Past the Wire TV. Uh, Appreciate you all checking in. Hope everybody is well. Going to talk a little bit today about something in the industry that's quite troubling. Some of you are probably aware of it. I doubt many of you aren't aware of it. And I'm not going to get into the technical nature of it and the specifics because I wrote a couple of articles about it. You can see them on pastthewire.com. We're going to talk about the Marshall Gramm incident and the leaked past performances that contained confidential private veterinary information, along with some other things like raggers and numbers and things like that. They were custom built past performances that HISA alleges he was using for claiming purposes, handicapping purposes, betting into the parimutuel pools, and playing in contests. That has not been adjudicated and proved as of yet. But that's what he is accused of doing and facing charges from HISA about right now. What else comes of it is yet to be determined. I guess we'll find out as the case and developments progress. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some other angles of what Marshall Gramm did, or is alleged to have done, I should say. And I think it's important, and I wrote about it, but I think it's important sometimes to kind of just get it out there verbally and talk to people and kind of find some common sense out there, because there seems to be a lack of it when it comes to this Marshall Gramm thing. And again, I'm not going to get into the particulars, names, dates, times, and places. We know what the allegations are. And if you want to know the actual facts and the real nitty gritty, you can certainly read the articles on pastthewire.com. But, past performances got leaked on X that showed this information. There was a whole big investigation about who created them and why, who had access to them. And so far, the only one that has been alleged to have access to them is Marshall Gramm, who used his status as a covered person under and by HISA as an owner to access a vulnerability in their portal and download all this veterinary information that he incorporated onto past performances that he used. Now, HISA catches him, tries to come to a settlement with him. My understanding is that the terms of the settlement required full disclosure of who he was and what he did, and that he was reluctant to agree to that. He wanted to remain anonymous, and he also wanted the scope of what he did not to be made public, and that was non-negotiable with HISA. And the settlement broke down, and the charges against him were levied. And that's the long and short of the story. But where it really kind of went south and got interesting to me was in the reaction. He's got a lot of friends, Marshall Gramm, and he's been a well-respected handicapper. He's a BC Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge winner. I think he's won other tournaments as well. He's a mathematician or a math professor or whatever the heck he is. I don't know, and I don't care. He's well respected in the industry. A lot of friends. Been on In the Money Media podcast a bunch of times with a lot of people there. His stable 10 Strike Racing, I read, was their first sponsor. So he's tied in with them for whatever that's worth or means. Maybe nothing. Don't know. Don't care either. What I do care about is the take and the rush to hang the wrong person and the wrong entity. Now, let's be clear about something, and I think it's important. HISA was created for no other reason than the thoroughbred racing industry failed miserably to self-regulate and self-police. And even under HISA, they still show their dysfunction. The industry shows its dysfunction. How does it show its dysfunction? Well, for those of you that watch FanDuel or some of these other channels, I usually watch the Roberts Racing Network and the track feeds. And even there, I had a problem last week. Why? Because the horses for the stake at Saratoga were going into the gate the same time as the horses at Belmont, almost like they planned it, when in reality, what they should do is plan for that not to happen. Okay? If I've got a bet at Saratoga and a bet at Del Mar, why do those races have to go off at the same time? If we can't stagger the post times, okay, of two of the premier meets in the country that are running, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast, how can we possibly function effectively together as an industry? You tell me. If we can't do something that friggin' simple. So HISA was created because the industry couldn't police itself. It couldn't regulate itself. Different rules in different states, different thresholds, different this, different that, no working together. And even under HISA, we still see it. Look at what they did to the Triple Crown. They effectively negated the Triple Crown. They made a racing series that they announced before Pimlico changed the date of the Triple Crown. They announced a series of these bunch of races where you get points, you get a bonus, the Derby's included, the Belmont Stakes is included, the Preakness is not included. And what nobody talked about, I did in my article, is the technical medication changes that happen, and the thresholds and the waiting periods and the injections and what happens as a result of that. I don't know if they even considered any of that when they came up with this brilliant idea, which I think is the opposite of brilliant. It's as bad, maybe worse than that Thoroughbred Racing League or whatever, that other ridiculous idea that they came up with to make rich owners richer. But that's why HISA was created, all right? And when HISA was created, they had to get somebody to run it who had a legal background, had a sports background, and had some horse knowledge. Lisa Lazarus got that job. Now she's everybody's favorite, dartboard today. Why? Because she did what everybody said HISA doesn't do. For months and months and months, if not, it feels like years and years and years, people have been complaining. HISA never catches any real cheaters. HISA never catches any real cheaters. Well, if Marshall Gramm did what it's alleged he did, he cheated everybody who's betting, every one of us. So why are we as bettors mad at HISA because he exploited a vulnerability in their system? That's about as stupid as saying, well, Your Honor, I know I robbed the bank. I'm really sorry, but you should acquit me and find the bank manager guilty because that bank, that safe, wasn't as good a safe as it could have been, and that's why I was able to rob it. The safe could have been better, and if it was a better safe, I would have never been able to rob it. So I'm all right. The bank manager's fault. Let's hate him. Let's make him the dartboard and hang him and throw darts at the bank manager. That is asinine. That is ridiculous. That is, if you're a gambler and a bettor and you're betting into the same pools that Marshall Gramm was betting into, and this is what he did, you are taking an opinion and a position against your own self-interests. Make that make sense to me, please. How do you make that make sense? You're taking a position against your own self-interest. You're saying, well, he cheated me. Yeah, but I'm mad at the people that, he stole the information from. Or I'm as mad at them as I am at him. Really? Okay, good for you. I'm not. I'm glad they caught him. Do I wish the safeguards were better and he was never able to do it? Of course. That's just common sense. But do I blame HISA for what he decided to do with a loophole or a vulnerability in a system that he was able to find and exploit because he's a mathematician or whatever the heck else he is? No, I don't. Why? Because I don't take a position against my own interests, number one. And number two, the guy who robs the bank is not the good guy because the safe wasn't as good as it could be. That's bots. That's just doesn't make any sense. But that's the reaction that you get. Then you have some people that have the audacity to say, well, he was only using it for claiming he never used any of that information in contests or in betting in the pools. That's a really interesting take. All right. That might be worse than blaming the bank manager and blaming HISA and blaming Lisa Lazarus. Let me tell you why. Okay. Why? And people, they take these positions with no facts. Facts don't matter anymore. Just that sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. He's my friend, so that makes him sound better. Let me tell you how stupid that is. The past performances of the two horses that leaked, one of them was deterministic, who won 2 stakes up at Saratoga. Let me ask you something. Could you claim deterministic? No. Okay. So then how do you with a straight face and with the assumption that you're not talking to a complete moron say, well, he didn't use them in tournaments or for betting purposes, only for claiming? Really? Then why did he have a past performance of deterministic with all his vet records and everything else and rags and numbers all cooked and baked into it? For claiming purposes? I mean, seriously? How do you say that with a straight face? You say that to me to my face, I feel like you're calling me an idiot. I want to slap you. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The takes that people get, all right? Then everybody wants to say, oh, well, Lisa Lazarus made her first statement where she said she guaranteed that the breach in the system didn't come from an unauthorized user of their portal. Well, she lied because he Marshall Gramm. No, she didn't lie. Okay. First off, she might have been wrong, and we don't even know that because you don't know why somebody from a regulatory agency puts something out there during an open investigation. That's number one. Number two, the statement technically was correct. There was no breach by an unauthorized user. He was an authorized user. A couple of weeks later, she clarified and then said, we are now looking at the possibility that it was an unauthorized user. Could that have been worded better? Yes. Is that anybody's business to pick and part and call her a liar for? No, because you don't know the inner workings of a regulatory agency. Let me ask you something. Does anybody know who the lead investigators for HISA are? They're all ex-FBI. Well, at least the head guy and a couple of others are ex-FBI agents. I think they know how to investigate. I think they know sometimes you say something publicly that makes the perpetrator feel comfortable to continue what they're doing so you can catch them doing it. I don't know that that's what happened, but I don't know that that's not what happened. Neither do you, and neither do all the people saying, oh, she lied. She didn't lie. She made a statement. She made another statement. She made another statement. And she was, in my opinion, as transparent as she could be under the circumstances the entire time. And let me tell you something else. You could go back and look at my columns. There's nobody that's been as critical of HISA when they have been wrong than I have. I call them out every chance that I get. At the town halls, when they have their budget meetings, I blast them and go after them. But I don't pile on somebody who's not wrong, and I don't hang the wrong person because it fits a narrative, because I like the guy who may have cheated and or stole from me. Because if you're a bettor into those pools and he was doing what he's accused of doing, then he robbed and cheated you. And if you're sticking up for somebody who robbed and cheated you, you know what I say to that? I say, I hope you're a bigger bettor than he is and you're betting into the same pools as me. That's what I hope. Simple as that. It's just a crazy take that people have on the situation. The hatred of HISA is so deep that the same people who have been screaming that they don't catch anybody, when they catch somebody, they're mad at them for catching them and allowing it to happen. I mean, just get a grip. Get a grip. Get with reality, because that's just so so off base. So off base. You want to know who's not off base? If you watched the last episode of The Sharp Edge, where we talked about what may be the biggest betting coup in horse racing history, with all those Venezuelan horses or Venezuelan trained horses that won. If that was a coup, and we don't know that yet, it certainly looks like it. But if it was, those are the happiest people of all, because they did their thing. And nobody ain't even talking about them anymore. Everybody's bashing HISA because somebody was able to hack into their system and get access to information that they weren't supposed to get to. Nobody's talking about the warnings that went up saying, hey, you're not supposed to access this, you're not supposed to access this, and how he did it and all of that, which is all going to come out. But we'll be mad at HISA because this guy used their system to take advantage of the bettors and contest players. I think he won a contest while this was happening, and they already have disqualified from him. But you got people making public statements. Friends says, oh, he didn't use the information, any of it, for handicapping and betting purposes. Really? Okay. I know if I finished second in a handicapping contest and he won, there's a problem. And I'll tell you something else. And we'll close with this thought, because like I said, all the particulars are in my articles. If you want to know the dirty details, you can read them. All right. This is just across the board talking. If you're watching this show, odds are you're somewhat familiar with gambling and wagering. What are the odds that the very first time somebody does something wrong or steps out of line, they get caught, and that's the only time they've ever done something wrong and stepped out of line? Those are some pretty big odds. Could that be the case with this Marshall Gramm character? Maybe. I don't know the guy. But it's a bet against. He's a Breeders' Cup betting challenge winner. What was he doing then? I don't know. Neither do you. He won it. He's won other tournaments. He said on one panel he bet $25 million over the course of a year. On the legit? I don't know. Neither do you. I do know that he got caught, allegedly, apparently, doing something that would give him a unfair edge against all of us that are betting. I do know that the odds of it being a one-time isolated incident are slim, not impossible. Hey, if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, that's fine. You can do so. You're entitled to that, and maybe even he's entitled to it. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying the odds are very, very much against that. So you do with that what you will. Your opinion is what it is, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Mine is that HISA is not the bad guy in this particular situation. They are not the ones that should be standing looking at the noose to get hung. No. They caught the person doing it Whether there were other people involved or not, we don't know that yet. It's still an ongoing investigation. It's no way closed. It's no way over. Hopefully all of that will come out. But you can't now with a straight face say that they have never caught a real cheater. Can't say it no more. They didn't catch the kind that we all thought they would, another Jason Service or Jorge Navarro. No, they didn't catch that yet. They caught another kind of cheating that affects the bettors just as much. And if there's more people involved, and if there's as many people as rumored that have access to these PPs, then they really stumbled onto something big and stopped something big that is potentially on a level of the Service and Navarro nonsense that went on. So if you're going to hang somebody, hang the right person. Across the board, past the wire, TV. Oh yeah, ciao, ciao. Check out the rest of our shows. Check out our Alabama and Pacific Classic preview. And if you don't have a key to the wire room, you need to get one.
Now, his record will remain unblemished. Clark Brothers, too classy, wins by 3, and She's a Gamer simply outran them and outran them well. 3-length victory. Turns on the afterburners. Look at him. Put an exclamation point. He won by 11 lengths. Stradale or Oscar's Hope, who's flying. Here it is. Stradale has found his home on the turf.
Some horses are remembered, other horses are passed down like an heirloom. He's the kind of horse that lives in stories, each better than the one before, hardened like a diamond and equally brilliant. He ran 3 straight years at the highest level, and he himself was elite.
Putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure.
National Treasure would not be denied. National Treasure wins the Pegasus World Cup.
In the blink of an eye has opened up a 5-length advantage. It's a 1-horse race. National Treasure.
There's a brilliance in the way he moved and a tenacity in how he finished. By quality road with a wealth of family, and he raced like he knew it. National Treasure, the key to quality.